Welcome to the faucet installations. So first we're going to start off with the bathroom faucet, then move to the kitchen. So this style faucet that's currently in here is a pop-up. It's a pop-up because our center drain here is going to pop up and down to open and close. Now the other style is a pull system. So, the one with a pull system, we're going to pull it to move that center drain up and down. Now, we'll get to how this hooks up, but either faucet, no matter which one it is, they both just slide in the slot, and then there's a little plastic nut that goes up underneath to tighten it. Once we tighten it on, then we're just going to have to connect our water line from our faucet to our shutoff valve. So either one's basically going to install the same way besides the pull system for the drain. So we're going to start by turning our water off, making sure that our water is off. So we're going to have to disassemble our water lines and our drain line. So I'm going to loosen up my nuts. That way I can slide the plumbing off. Now you want to be careful and keep a little dish, a bucket, your vacuum next to you, so that way you can empty this P-trap out, because it's normally filled with some excess water. Now that we got our drain off, now we can disassemble our water lines. So, our water lines, when we're taking them off, we always want to hold our shutoff valve. So we always want to secure that valve when we're taking our water line off, so we don't flex this water line at all, bend it or break it at all. So we can use channel locks, we can use a pipe wrench, whatever we need to hold and secure this in place. So we got it held good. So now we can unloosen it. So as I'm loosening it, I'm kind of putting opposite pressure, opposite tension with my vice grips here. To make sure that that water line isn't bending or flexing at all. Alright. We got one water line removed. Now I got the other one removed. So we got it disconnected from our valve, but we still need to disconnect it up top as well. We got one. got two. Now that we got the faucet unsecured, we can unscrew our center drain. So we got our nut. Got our little rubber ring. And then we can pop it out. Take our faucet out of top. And now we are ready to install our new faucet. We can insert our new faucet into the slot. When we put it in, we always want to make sure that it's nice and centered. So until we tighten it down all the way, we want to make sure that it's nice and centered. Here's one. Now the other side. I'm going to get it hand tightened up just till it's touching the bottom of the countertop. That way I can center and straighten it out. Once I got it straight, I can finish tightening it down. Now we got it tightened and secured. We can put our water lines back on. So we can screw them back on. At the top and on our valve. Now we got this side. Now we are good to tighten them up. Tighten the top. There's one. Alright. Now we are good to tighten the bottom. Remember, we gotta hold these valves so we don't flex the line when we're tightening the bottom. There's one. And there's two. Now, we are ready to put our center drain piece on. So, for our center drain piece, we got our top side. We got a small rubber ring that goes on the bottom side. And sometimes this ring doesn't always work the best. If it ends up leaking, then we're going to need to use plumber's putty. It's probably a good idea just to throw this away and use plumber's putty. That way you won't ever have to worry about having a leak. So that just inserts up top, so that way we can slide it through. Now this one with the pull system, we want to make sure that this little hole right here is facing towards the back, towards that back wall. Now, we got our bottom nut in a rubber ring. The small coned end always points up. Always points up like this. Always points up. So, the flat part is what goes on the nut to sit flat on our nut. Then we can place it up. Slide a little rubber ring up. Then we can tighten our nut on. And we're going to have to move this up. Makes it easier to tighten that nut up when it's up all the way tight to the top. Or most of the way to the top. Alright, now we got it up. We can tighten our nut on. And we want to make sure that circle is pointing towards the back for our pull system. Now it's going to pull this up and seal the bottom. Alright. Now it's starting to get a little tighter. Want to make sure we get it good and tight so we don't get any leaks. Now that we got it tight, we can assemble our pulley system. So, with our pulley system, we have one piece here that's going to attach to our rod up there. And then we have our second piece is what inserts into our center drain piece here. So these two are going to connect. This is going to snap in to this piece. So that way, when they're both connected, it's going to pull that drain up and down. So we want to insert our center drain piece and spin and tighten it around. And we want to turn this piece so our holes are sideways. That way we can insert this in. Now this is on a swivel and spins to move up and down for us to adjust to the height that we need. Because we want this rod all the way down, so it's down, all the way down on top. So this is just going to snap up in there. Then this is going to allow us to adjust this piece that we need to pop in. So before I pop this in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this to make sure that it's popping the drain up and down on top. Which it is. So we are good to connect them. Now we want to make sure this is all the way down when we go to connect this. Alright. And we can snap that piece in. And we're good. Now we just need to reattach our drain, which we have our nut here is going to slide up first, then our rubber ring. The small end always points down because that's what's going to fit into the next pipe to seal it. So we're going to slide it on. Then we can get this piece on and tighten our nut. Now I leave this a little bit loose, so there's a little room for me to adjust it to the height that I need. So then we're going to get our nut and our ring on the bottom of this pipe. So that way, all we have left to connect is our J-bend. And now I can just insert it in to where I need it. So I need to unloosen this piece a little bit so that way I can pull it out and adjust it to where I need it. So right about there is where we're going to need it. So I'm going to tighten that one on. Then I can tighten my other nuts. Okay. And finally, my back nut. Alright, double check, make sure they're all tight. Turn our valves back on. And now we're good to do our pressure test to make sure that everything's working properly. So I'm going to plug it up and I'm going to let the sink fill up about halfway. Once that sink fills up halfway, we can drain it to make sure that we don't have any leaks at any of our connections. Remember, anytime we unhook the drain, we always have to do a pressure test. Just running water down the faucet isn't always going to show if there's a leak, but the pressure test will. So we always have to pressure test it anytime that plumbing is unhooked. So fill it up halfway. Once we get it filled halfway, we can drain it. It looks like it's flowing good. We don't see any leaks. Now that we've done our pressure test, and we see that it's nice and straight, we don't have any leaks. At this point, we're going to clean everything up, sweep up our mess, wipe down our faucet. If we got fingerprints all over it, let the customer check it out, and then finish up with our survey. Let them know we need that 10 out of 10 for this great service. Welcome to the kitchen sink installation. So we have this first style where we got our sprayer coming out of the head of the faucet, and then we also, the other one we're going to put in is just our standard basic kitchen faucet with the sprayer coming off to the side. Both install pretty similar, besides the spray hose is just a little bit different. On this one, there's a weight that attaches underneath to be able to retract this up and down, whereas the standard one doesn't have that on it. So I'll go through this one as we're disassembling it, and then we'll put the standard one back in. So, this style faucet, we have faucet lines that are connected to our shutoff valve and connected up at the top here. This is one style. The other style, like the basic one we're going to put in, the water lines come pre-attached to the faucet itself. So, it can be either one. So we want to make sure that we carry some extra faucet lines on our truck just in case it's this style where we're going to need them. So a couple things we have to do. First thing we want to do is make sure that we have our water off, because we're going to have to disconnect our water lines. And remember, when we disconnect our lines, we always want to hold our valve or our T. So that way we're not putting any pressure, we're not flexing on that water line at all. So we always want to make sure we're holding that. So we can disconnect our water line at the bottom here, and we're going to disconnect them at the top as well. Okay, we got our bottom disconnected. Now we can start to disconnect our top. So with this style faucet where it's connected at the top, we have these copper lines here. You want to be really careful we don't bend or kink these lines at all, because if they kink up, the water's not going to flow through them. So we want to be careful when we're taking these off not to twist them. over twist them. And it's going to be a good idea to make sure we hold it good and steady, so that way they can't break or bend. So we got our water lines disconnected. Now, our next step, we're going to have to take our weight off. Now this style weight is just screwed on. Other styles, they just sit and clip on here. And some just free hang on here. They'll just slide through and just sit on here and be able to move. Several different styles, but they all act for the same purpose, to retract that line. Most lines, like this one, we'll be able to see once we take this off. There's a little marking. There'll be a little marking or a little sticker on the line itself, letting us know where to put that weight. Now, if the weight is just a free hanging style, it's just going to sit at the base of the line there. So it's not going to clip to the line at all. It's just going to free sit on that line. So that way, as we're pulling on it, it'll be able to slide along that line. All right, we got our weight off. There's our little sticker marking. It says weight here, letting us know where to put it on. So, our next step is going to be our spray hose. On either model, our spray hose is going to come down and it's going to connect up here in the middle. So, most of the time there's a little release that we're going to push or pull, so that way we'll be able to pull it down. This one, the release is on top. Some of the other models, it can be on the side. There can be two little rods coming down that we'll have to pinch together. Every model's different. All right. So we got it released. Our next step is going to be taking out our screws up top here. We got a couple screws in here that we need to unloosen before we can screw this nut off. Now, we don't necessarily have to screw these all the way out. We can, but it's not completely necessary. We just need to screw them down enough till they're flush with the top of that nut. That way, we'll be able to twist it off. And this is what's securing it to the sink. So we got our nut and our washer. Okay, we got our nut in our washer. We can slide off. Now that we got our nut and washer slid off, we can pop our sink out. Pop our faucet out. Now we are ready to put our new faucet in. So I'm going to slide it down through the top, which most faucets come with this base plate. We can either put the plate on or it can just go on as a single faucet if there's one hole up there. But if there's multiple holes like this sink, we're going to have to put the cover on to cover up those holes unless we get some plugs to cover them up. Really, it's up to the customer and their personal preference, but if there's extra holes there, most of the time we're going to use this base. Now, this style faucet is a single hole, but they also come with double holes where there's going to be 2 nuts on it. This one is just going to have a single nut that attaches to it. So we got our faucet fed down through. Now we're going to feed our spray hose down through. We got our spray hose. Now these basic style spray hoses, these are not going to have a weight like the other one. It's just going to clip right up into the middle like the other one, but there's going to be no weight. So, first thing I need to do is we can tighten our spray hose on. So we got our little plastic piece. That's going to slide up our plastic nut and it's going to tighten. Alright, we got it tightened on. And that hose is going to be able to free spin around on the top. So as long as you got it centered in the hole, the direction of it, you're going to be able to turn to center and straighten it up. Now with the faucet, we're going to want to make sure that that's straight. So we're going to get our washer and our nut on, and I'm just going to hand tighten it up till this nut is just touching the bottom of the sink. Once I do that and I got it somewhat tight, I can go back up top and adjust the sink, straighten it out to where I need it before I finish tightening it down. You always want to make sure that it's centered and even on top before you tighten it down all the way. So we have our washer and our nut that we are going to slide on. got a hand tighten. So now I'm going to readjust it at the top. Alright. We got it nice and straight. So now we can finish tightening it up. So I'm just going to finish tightening this nut. Now that I got it tight, we have 3 screws underneath there. That we're going to have to tighten up. Now they're going to tighten up and push up against it to pull that faucet down on top to secure it in. So I'm just going to tighten each one evenly. Once I get it to the top, I'm just screwing it up till it touches the base evenly. And I can go around and give it a turn. Giving it 1 turn each. Just following it around in a circle. All right. Now that we got it nice and tight, we have our spray hose that is going to go up and connect in the middle. And it has these little 2 pull tabs. You squeeze in on them and that's what's going to release it. Now this is going up and connecting right in the middle, just like the other one. Alright, it's snapped in. Now we got our hose secured, we can put our water lines on. Now make sure you read your water lines. These ones are pre-connected, so it's going to come labeled hot side. So make sure we're reading that and connecting the right side to the right one. All right. Now we got them on. Now we just need to tighten up the water lines. We got our hot tightened. And now we got our cold. I'm using my channel locks to hold it. We use a pipe wrench too, just to give a little opposite pressure. so we don't flex or bend that water line. Now we got the faucet all hooked up. We just need to turn our water back on. Now that we got our water on, we just need to test the faucet and make sure it's working good. Now that we got it fully installed, we tested it, it's working. Now we are good to grab the customer, let them check it out, go through our explanation and our survey, get everything picked up and cleaned up, and then we'll be good to go.